Okay, so I do read your comments, and one of the comments was, how do you drive a monster truck? Well, they're not the easiest thing to drive in the world, but I can show you through the controls so you can get the gist of it. First of all, to get into the monster truck, it's a fiberglass shell, so there's no doors in a monster truck. A lot of people think that you open the door or you climb up or you need a big ladder, but actually what you do is underneath here, you can see on mine where I will wear off the paint trying to get in. So we actually go underneath and then climb up through the floor. So that's the back of the fiberglass. So now we can climb up into the monster truck. And as you can tell, there is tubes absolutely everywhere in here. I can get the steering wheel will come off. I can actually get in it with it on. Some people like to take it off. So this is what it looks like when we're sat inside the monster truck. So steering wheel, that turns just the front wheels, just like on a normal car. So that's all the steering there. But on the monster truck, it has 4-wheel steering. So on my monster truck, they're all slightly different. All the monster trucks throughout the world, how they're done. Some have little buttons, like Podzilla has a button for left and a button for right. Mine's actually on this little switch here. So if you want to go left, we actually push the button to the right. If we want to go right, we push the button to the left. That is the way the back wheels actually turn. So it's a bit like a narrowboat. Narrowboats steer from the back. So if we're steering from the back, that's the way the wheels turn to do the tight turns. As you can tell, it looks like there's loads of room in here. But as you can probably appreciate, there it is, absolutely tubes everywhere, just to protect the driver who's driving the monster truck. So on my seat, I've got protection on for my head for a side-to-side landing. It looks quite big, but my helmet is quite large. So the idea of that, it doesn't overextend your neck. We're wearing a hands device which comes over your shoulders underneath, so your seatbelts come over the tops of them to keep your head connected to the hands device. The hands device stops your head coming forwards in a big impact. Most motorsports only use them when they have a crash. When you're driving a monster truck, it's like having a crash every single time when you drive it. So yeah, so this is what it's like inside the monster truck. So if I flip the camera around, we got the rev counter, which of course tells you how many RPM the engines do it. Below that, this box here, if I turn the power on, or if I turn all of these off first, and you see the lights are flashing. That is the remote ignition interrupter. That's a remote control just for the monster truck's engine. So we can turn the monster truck off remotely with like a walkie-talkie. So if anything happens in a show, you can actually physically turn the monster truck off without having to try and get the driver's attention. I could be driving away from anybody and they want to turn the monster truck off. Just press the button and the monster truck will shut off. Up to the side of the rev counter is a big orange light. So if I turn the ignition on, the orange light will come on. That orange light represents that the engine hasn't got enough oil pressure. So this will come on at 40 psi. So if this light comes on when I'm driving it, it's really in your face, you can't miss it. I have to stop the monster truck immediately. So next to the rev counter, all the other gauges. So the first one, which is oil pressure. So that's how much oil pressure's in the engine. Next to it is water temperature, how hot the engine is. Next to that is the voltage gauge, how many volts are in the engine, and is the batteries being charged by the alternator. Next to that, we've got the ignition switch. Next one there, it's labelled up starter, so that's the one that starts the engine. The black one that isn't labelled is actually a fuel priming system. So when I'm starting the engine, I'd actually press this for about 4 seconds to 5 seconds before, and then press the starter button. As soon as it's fired, we'll pull this out and it'll stay out all the time while we're driving. And as soon as we want to stop the monster truck, we actually turn the fuel off before we turn the ignition off. So we press that button in, and then once the engine is started speeding up and then runs out of fuel, so the engine's actually stopped on its own, then we turn off the ignition. Yeah, that's basically all the controls in the monster truck up on the dashboard. So below us we've got the gear stick. So at the moment we're in neutral. So all monster trucks are different. Some have gated shifts. This one is a ratchet shift, so the gear stick always stays in the same place. So at the moment we're in neutral, and if I pull it back, that's first gear, so there's no clutch, no nothing, so that's first gear. Second gear, so if I went from neutral and bang bang twice, it will start in second. It wouldn't start in first and then change up into second. It's got a manual valve body inside the gearbox. So yeah, so then if I went to third is the top gear. So that's as high as it's gone. A lot of monster trucks only have a 2-speed gearbox. This has actually got a 3-speed gearbox. And then to come back down the gearbox, that's back into second, back into first, back into neutral. So you want to go into reverse. As you can see, you cannot get reverse now. To get reverse, you have to pull this lever forwards, and then that lets you select reverse. And if you go forward twice more, then you're into park. Now, if you're coming back out of park, you just go, you're in reverse, back into neutral. Okay, so there's the accelerator pedal on the monster truck. As you can see, it's actually got a guard over the top, so if for any reason the throttle gets stuck, we can actually pull the throttle back. Next to the throttle, that's the brake pedal, so nice and big so we can't miss it. And of course, because the monster truck's automatic, there is no clutch pedal. So we just got one pedal for go and one pedal for stop. So that's the controls taken care of in the monster truck. The best thing about driving a monster truck is how powerful they are. So behind me there, that engine in the back of the monster truck, which the exhaust are just behind my head, is 2,000 horsepower. It's just under 10 litres, this engine in this monster truck. It is one of the most powerful engines in the UK in a monster truck, and I absolutely love it. When you're coming up to a ramp, you don't have to be going that fast, to tell the truth, because it accelerates so quick. We can do 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds in this monster truck, and that's not bad. We weigh 5.5 tons, and those tyres are 66 inches tall and they're 43 inches wide. But that's what makes a monster truck, are those massive 66-inch tyres. If it hasn't got a 66-inch tyres, it isn't a monster truck. Okay, so we're working down the workshop today. It's Saturday and it's really windy outside. It's Storm Hannah, so if you hear any banging in the background, that's who it is. So today we're working on the monster truck again. So as you can see, got Swamp Thing written down it, but what you probably can't see is actually it's coming apart. So it's actually split at the top. So we're going to take this body panel off and put a new one on. It's really quite a simple job to do. Just lift the new panel on there and drill some holes in it. Got Kelvin down here again from BK Graphics. Kelvin's still on the rivets. The worst job ever, isn't it, Kelvin?
Yeah, very slow, painstakingly, boring, but
yeah,
job at least doing it.
It does, but look at this. He's done a fantastic job sinking all those rivets in. 8,000 rivets per side on this trailer. But yeah, so I'm going to take this body panel off. Seeing Kelvin's up, he's already made the graphics for it already because he keeps them in stock. So we've already got some of them up in the office. So let's take this panel off and get a new one to make Swamp Thing looking good again. so there's the panel all mocked up in place. All we have to do now is drill the holes and put on the graphics, which Kelvin's going to do shortly. So this is the damage what was caused when we was at Autosport earlier this year. So as you can see now, where it's split, it's actually starting to come down the sides. So we've got the new one on fitted now. So the finish on that is straight off a spray gun. It hasn't been mopped or anything. And all what holds the monster truck's body on, as you can see, it's got the frame inside. So you've got Lexan at the back that holds it up, and then it's got a little aluminium frame at the top there. And then if you spin round this way, and then you've got the one bolt there, and the next bolt there. And that's all what holds the monster truck body on. So there's actually only 7 bolts that hold that on there, but it doesn't need any more than that. If it's more than that, it just takes longer to get on and off.